Good morning, my soul family. Danya Sperry here, spokesperson for Aubriana Rose. So as promised, we're going to be touching a little bit more on anxiety. It went over really well. People were asking me a lot of questions. So we're going to do an extended version on not only touching on anxiety, but also self-love, because technically speaking, self-love is what prevents anxiety. And what I thought we're going to do is start by reading a portion of Free Me from My Cage. And I do realize it's upside down, so I'm sorry for that. Free Me from My Cage. But before I do start the opening chapter, I just essentially wanted to set the scene for you. We all suffer from anxiety, as we know, to a certain degree, and we've touched on that in previous videos. However, some of us suffer from so much accumulative anxiety that we literally have a nervous breakdown where we can't handle anything else anymore. This book is written in a style that is very thrilling. It's written in a style that's funny, and it's written in a style that's magical, that brings back the joy and the reminiscence of how children played innocently when we were young. So in the opening scene of Free Me from My Cage, Aubriana is describing the beauty of Napa Valley in the summertime, the beauty in the fall, and the beauty in the spring and winter. So rather than reading all of that poetic opening in her first chapter, we're going to bypass that and go right on into the descriptive anxiety. In the meantime, while life's activities joyfully unfolded around me, my mind and body had been preparing for a terrifying and inescapable meltdown. My life had slipped completely away from me, as though sand poured rapidly through the holes of a colander. I felt painfully empty and no longer able to hold my life together. At that very moment in time, every nerve and every cell of my body crackled and popped, as if water was thrown onto an electrical outlet. It was 10 o'clock in the evening, 6 months pregnant with my second child and alone in my home, void of any light except for that of the moon, gasping and sobbing between cries, while trembling violently. Breathing was nearly impossible as my chest tightened fiercely. On trembling legs, I climbed the stairs, entered the master bathroom, and stood before the mirror. A feeling of hysteria heightened to a sharp and edgy peak. As I stared wildly into the eyes of a stranger, she dug her nails into her scalp and pulled at her waist-length blonde hair. She then hurled out a terrifying scream. "Please, won't someone love me? I only want to be loved. Oh my God, oh my God." Unable to stand any longer, she fell to her knees and onto the cool linoleum floor. Her heavy heart ached beyond words as she cried out again, "Won't someone please love me?" She continued sobbing from her aching heart, with her face pressed against the floor and a puddle of tears. Gradually, her cries for love receded into shivering sobs, and her convulsing gasps for air ceased. Astonished, she felt an unusual sensation so different from the emotions that had been ripping her apart earlier. She was no longer a terrified and lonely girl in a pregnant woman's body. A calm and soothing warmth gently enveloped her, while a silent message repeated in her head, "You're going to be all right. There's no need to worry. There's no need to worry." It was as though the words radiated a warmth that penetrated straight to her bones. And so it was. on that Indian summer, a slow and courageous journey began in her life. A seed so long parched absorbed her desperate pleas for love and understanding and pushed through the cracked, sun-baked earth a tiny stem holding tightly to an unfurled leaf. How could a young woman appearing to have it all end up in this chaotic state? Explaining this in depth requires peeling back the layers of her life, one tragedy at a time. So these books, Free Me From My Cage, it is a trilogy. So there's 3 books to this story of Aubriana's. She really, truly does capture a thrilling suspense in her writing. And she describes how she eventually finds freedom from her cage. It's really important that at this point in time, we all recognize that we are living in unprecedented times. We are living in times where people don't clearly understand what is going on in what appears to be a crazy, chaotic world, where people are so self-absorbed and more into their own personal feelings. And what it is truly important for us to understand is that we're living in a time where we are starting to wake up from a dormant state, whether we realize it or not. We should almost liken our learning self-love to a beautiful garden within us, a beautiful garden. However, as upon closer look, all those flowers are not open. They're tightly held together. And there are thousands and thousands of weeds in this garden. So we can liken this to ourselves. This garden represents us. The flowers have not opened to fruition. And the weeds are what we need to work on. You could call it our interior landscape, learning self-love, and starting with one weed at a time. And once our garden is completely weed-free, which may take our entire life if it's a person who has suffered from major trauma. But once we reach that point, we can stand back, look at all of our hard work, and guess what? Our flower, and in this case, our flowers, open beautifully. There are tools in this book, or I should say in these books, that Aubriana has so eloquently developed, and I will touch on those tools throughout more of our readings. I definitely urge you, if you feel compelled, to go online and purchase the books Free Me From My Cage by Aubriana Rose. The other books are on there as well. You're going to learn how to truly start to live in authentic joy and happiness. You're going to learn the tools to bring you to that state of authentic happiness. That's the close of our video today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. Please like and subscribe if you feel so. And the website is www.aubrianarose.com. Thank you again. God bless you. I send my love to you. Bye.